All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. And thanks for joining us from around the globe. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Tanmay and I'm part of the Basecamp developer community team. Today we have experts, Bogdan, who's the product commercial director from Temenos Learning Community. And we have Kevin, who's head of product management from Temenos Learning Community. In today's session, we will learn how with TLC Online, our developer community has unlimited 24/7 access to our global community of experts, as well as to official Temenos training and certification programs. So that's the topic of today. And before I start the session, let me share a few things. We have Q&A panel that is active right now, and you can post your questions over there during the session. Make sure to post it in the Q&A panel and not in the chat window, because we have experts monitoring the panel and we'll give you answers at the end of the session. Also, we are recording this webinar and it will be available on Basecamp as a resource. So if you have your friends or colleagues not attending today, right now, they can, you can share the link with them again in future. So that's it from my side. I would like to invite Bogdan to take it up and start the session. Over to you, Bogdan. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tanmay, and welcome everybody. Welcome to this session. Thank you so much for taking the time. My name is Bogdan Naksha. I'm the Product Commercial Director for Temenos Learning Community. With me today, I have Kevin Potter, who's our Head of Product Management for TLC. And we will be talking over the next 40 minutes or so, and leaving times for questions and answer sessions at the end, about intuitive learning, about education technology, about training and certification with Temenos in these strange and special times of sanitary crisis. So thank you again, everybody, for taking the time and joining. I have the easy part, though I'm a little bit envious of Kevin, because he'll be showing you some really, really interesting feeds of TLC Online, doing a deep dive into the product and explaining how easy and intuitive it is to get exams, get your certifications and exams with our e-learning platform. But first of all, I'll just go through a couple of quick elements, introductory elements, explaining how we got to this approach towards education, towards training and certification for our products. And I'll start with a quick question about, well, how did COVID-19 impact the job and industry? And this is something that we've seen, unfortunately, to an important extent, especially over the past 6 to 8 months or so, in Europe as well as in the US. Well, at this point, it's pretty much a global pandemic. So we've seen the impact reaching the banking and financial sector in an important way, with earnings expected to fall and with banks expected to get their value eroded even higher than for those industries that rely on technology more intensively. So this is an SP. This source has the SP indices, and we're seeing here that there is an important difference between the evolution in the first quarter of the year of the S&P 500 information technology companies and how the overall market has evolved, and the S&P 500 Industrials Index has evolved. And even though there are some differences between these indices, the overall trend is quite self-explanatory. I won't insist on that, just to basically set up the premise for what we've been doing and what we've decided to go ahead with in these troubling times as a company, as Temenos. What that means, how that translates in terms of the challenges and implications for both banks and financial institutions, but also the technology companies that are doing, like the Temenos partners that are doing implementations or project with banks, it means that new challenges came up, which is staff working more and more from home, or having to get more on family leave or on sick leave. Of course, there are all the other challenges in terms of cyber attacks, in terms of security breaches and security threats. But I would just primarily focus on the two top challenges of the overall short-term challenges and implications for the banks. And I think consequently, not just for banks, but for technology companies that are servicing the financial industry. According to McKinsey, and this is our source of information in this specific set of slides. So the implications are that what companies need to do more and more is to get you more empowered with devices, with access to platforms, with access to education technology platforms, to connectivity, to basically strengthen your ability to support your access across platforms, across systems, across locations. So you need to ubiquitously be able to access those platforms and to work from anywhere and from a multitude of devices. And if that was more of a nice to have or a nice feat before, now it has become an actual must. So with that in mind, how can we enable you? How can we help that? We've asked ourselves. And before I get into the details of that, well, actually, I'll mention that when we get to the actual platform. So how can we enable you during these times of COVID-19 and beyond? What we've done is we wanted to make sure that we provide you with the platform, the right platform for education, training, and certification to all those employees that are impacted throughout an IT transformation journey. And this is a two-factor, if you will, source of disruption or change. If your bank is going through a digital transformation journey, or if your technology company is doing an implementation in a bank, then it's a two-factor change situation, right? On the one hand, there is the actual change project, and on the other hand, or at the same time even, it is this disruption in the way in which the project needs to happen, or the training needs to happen, or implementation, or the business analysis. So you have the two factors weighing in on this new reality. And our answer to this situation was to just put together a set of tools, a set of systems to help you to easily access content, to easily access courses, and to easily access basically training and certification systems for the Temenos products. And that translates basically the Temenos Learning Community. This is who we are. So by providing training and certification to everybody who's touched by an IT transformation journey, we as Temenos have created Temenos Learning Community. And Temenos Learning Community stands for a few things. First of all, it's a new approach to learning. It's a new approach to education technology. Myself, my background is in both financial services, but most recently in education technology. So I'm very much education technology minded. And therefore here in my role with Temenos, I'm able to marry the two backgrounds by providing the financial services industry with the tools for training and certification in a way that I think it's quite unique for this industry. It's quite unique for the financial services markets. Because what we'd like to achieve today, and I'll make sure that we get really pragmatic real quick, is give you access to systems, as mentioned. We have a blended learning approach. What that means is that we mix some tools, we mix some systems to make them work for you. Whether you're a developer for a bank or for a technology company, doing an implementation to a bank, or developing or doing architecture, or regardless of what that role is. We want to make sure that we build, for instance, learning pathways that are interesting and relevant for you and for your role, or we are building learning pathways that are relevant to the product that you're working with, whether that be kovi, whether that be transact or multi-font, any product from the Temenos portfolio. And for that, we've created TLC Online. TLC Online is our e-learning platform that gets you access to content, exams, familiarization sandboxes, and basically all of that in a ubiquitous way. What we were discussing earlier, with TLC Online, you have access from anywhere, from any device, at any time to the courses that are available online for all the Temenos products. With TLC Engine, just as a quick introduction, that's our digital learning and communication platform. It is, if TLC Online is more about the products, is centered around the standard products, TLC Engine is more around the processes. So TLC Engine, the Temenos Learning Community Engine, provides a contextualized learning experience based on the specific processes of a specific bank. So it's a highly bespoke learning system that's centered around the specific processes of a specific financial institution. I believe there was a bit of an interruption. So I'm back now. I'm not sure. I hope it wasn't too long an interruption.
It was for a quick few seconds. That's fine, Bogdan. Yeah, you can start now.
Okay, great. So I was just discussing about the blended learning model. And so we have TLC Online for our Temenos products, standard products. We have the engine for the contextualized learning experience. And then the classroom, of course, we didn't step away from the classical instructor-led classroom training. Either it be in a physical setting or a virtual setting, but instructor-led nonetheless. So with our blended learning approach, and this is the modern way of teaching and learning, we have a mix of these elements. So we always combine the instructor-led way of learning with an online setting, which
Yeah, there's a disconnection again. Please give us a few minutes.
Okay, there's a bit of, there was one more interruption. Hopefully it doesn't repeat. Okay, I'm back. So then what we have is TLC Online. That's the start of the day. That's our e-learning portal for Temenos training and certification. What TLC Online is basically the go-to place for content against an annual subscription. It's an individual annual membership. It's your e-learning environment provided as a service, software as a service. It's in the cloud. It's easy to set up. It's easy to renew. It provides some accelerated learning pathways with what we call learning packs. So with our learning pathways defined in these learning packs, you can have access to all these entitlements that I'll come to in just a second. And also it provides you with access to the global network of experts, of Temenos experts around the globe. So not only will you have access to the content and exams and see what learning pathway fits your profile the best, whether from a product perspective or from a role perspective, but it will put you in contact with your peers around the globe. So if you want to share a tip and trick about Transact or about kovi development or if you want to ask a question, you can do that, or if you want to start a poll or have a discussion, build your own micro community around a specific topic. That's something that you can do with the social network element of it inside of the TLC Online portal. So you can build your knowledge and share it and expand your network at the same time. So besides that social network element of it, where you find your peers when it comes to Temenos expertise, the four main things that are what's in it for you. It's easy, courses, pathways, the learning pathways, the familiarization sandboxes where you can test your knowledge. And again, this is done according to the latest findings in education technology related to how often must you test what you've read or what you've seen, what you've just become upskilled on. And then of course the exams and certifications. And here I think it's worth to mention that TLC Online is the only place where you can obtain a certified, an official Temenos certification. So this is the one platform that we use for partners, for Temenos end users, for Temenosians as well, for ourselves. We get certified as well on TLC Online. So there's a single platform for that to get certified, and that's TLC Online. And that's really important. So this is it in a nutshell about TLC Online, the theory of it at least. And as I was saying in the beginning of the discussion, I'm really, I think that Kevin has a really exciting part in this webinar today, because he gets to share the exciting stuff with you, the actual deep dive into the product, which I absolutely love. So if you have specific questions, please pop them up in the Q&A sector of the webinar, and we will make sure to keep a good, consistent part of our session in the end to answer these questions, so that we cover to the best, in the best way possible, all questions. Thank you, and Kevin, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Bogdan. Let me just share my screen, 2 seconds. Oh. Okay, there we go. Yeah, thanks very much. I love the end, exciting stuff to come. Well, let's hope. Hi to everyone. Just as Bogdan said, I'm the head of product management for TLC. That gives me the wonderful management responsibilities of managing the TLC Online and Classroom roadmaps, currently right up till Q1 2022. I decide what courses and content are approved. I deal with all of the quality standards and the look and feel for the content. I'm the manager for all of our agile development teams who build the classroom and online content, and for the transformation and publishing teams who make the courses live online. It's all great management stuff, but at the bottom line is I'm also an international trainer, and I've been training people for, gosh, over a quarter of a century. I'm trying to say that without feeling old, but it makes me really passionate about learning. So today, rather than just give you slideshow after slideshow, I'm just going to give you one slide, and then we're going to try a little live demo. On the left-hand side at the top, here's the Basecamp website, which a lot of you would be familiar with. You can be a user of Basecamp, of course, without being a TLC member. But there are many benefits to being a TLC member. So I'm going to show you that from a link within the Basecamp website, which I've highlighted here. You can get straight to the Temenos Learning Community members website. And even without being a member, you can browse through our hundreds of courses all by yourself. Get a feel for what's there and decide if TLC membership is right for you. In particular, as we go through this learning experience, I'll take you through our course catalog. From there, I'll launch one of our courses and show you the content that you typically be provided with. I'll show you how the catalog links to certification. And to help you get through the minefield of hundreds of courses, where do you start? I'll also talk about learning paths, and in particular, a very exciting new tool that's going to be launched really soon, which gives you a visual representation of learning paths. It guides you to the courses that you need, takes away all of the guessing to help you get certified in the right order and at the right time. So let's start by clicking on Basecamp. Here's the live Basecamp you should see now on your screens. From Basecamp, there's a training menu, takes you to Temenos training, and you dive straight to our Temenos Learning Community website. I can log in, I've got member access, but I'm not going to. I want to show you that you don't need to be a member to get some benefit out of this site. The menu items at the top are active. You won't get full data access, but you can work with the TLC catalog. And this is our starting point for our real live journey. So here is the TLC catalog, nice and glossy. I won't scroll all the way down the list, but there are literally hundreds of courses, over 500 live at last count. To help you even from this screen, you can select different sorts of learning pathways. You get a smaller list of courses. A product-based pathway gives you a collection of related courses. A role-based pathway gives you courses for a particular user role. What is it you're trying to do with your job role? We can also search for particular courses as well. I'm just going to pick the first one and show you what you get informationally, again, without being a member, regarding any of these courses. If we start at the top left of the screen, you get the course objective. In a nutshell, in a single sentence, what is the course all about? Below, we have the learning outcomes. What will you be able to achieve after you complete the course? Let me scroll down a little bit. Below this, you have a breakdown of the actual lessons that comprise the course. Into column 2, we try to help you see if it's a type of course for you by breaking it down into target audience. Some courses rely on other courses, so we have prerequisites. We also have a view of learning paths from this catalog view. I'm going to show you a much more glossy view at the end of this little session, but let me click on one of these. A big benefit of the catalog is lots of areas are live for you to click on, again, without being a member. So there is a view of a learning path. There's the order of courses that you need to take to complete this particular learning path. As a member, of course, you can also request classroom training. For me, as a trainer, I'll tell you quite honestly, I love being at the front of a classroom. I'm dreadful at the back. I tend to use course content as a technical person as reference materials. I'm great at teaching and I don't like being taught in person, but that's just me. But if you're brand new to a subject, then it's great to get classroom delivery because you will get an expert from one of our team, our highly qualified trainers, to guide you through and not only take you through what you can see in TLC Online, but to help you to answer all those questions you'd have in a normal interactive classroom approach. From each of these catalog course screens, you can also immediately take the course online and take the exam, get certified. So let's just do that. Let's take this course. At this point, you do need to be a member. You do need a subscription. Luckily, I get in for free. I'm allowed to cheat as head of product management. I'm allowed some perks. So I clicked the button, logged in, straight to the course. Let's just start at the introduction. First thing we get, I've been here before. Everything's bookmarked. You can jump to where you left off. TLC Online's major benefit is you can fit in 20 minutes of learning here, 30 minutes of learning there to fit in with your day. Do a little bit of lunchtime, a little bit first thing in the morning, in the evening. Remember where you were. I'll say no to this. Although this is just an intro you're seeing, it does illustrate that a lot of our slideshow-based lessons actually come with embedded video content. We're putting more and more video into our courses to give you a much more interactive feel to our content. At the right-hand side, you get a breakdown of all the lessons. You can click directly in. I'll just put the wonderful narration voice on mute there to let me keep talking. Each slide, whatever is said by the narrated voice, is also available in notes. And of course, you can make full use of screen. You don't need to have 20/20 vision. And indeed, you know, I've reached almost 50. I need glasses myself. So it's good to know you can click a button and see the whole experience on full screen. In addition to all of the slideware, which you would get in classroom as well, we also publish a course document. This gives you another way to deal with the course. Here again, this is bookmarked, so it's taking me straight into page 16. Don't worry about not being able to read this. I couldn't read this either, which is why you go to full screen. If that's not big enough because you think that diagram, I can't quite see stuff, zoom in further. That has got to be big enough for anyone's eyesight. Zoom back out. This document I particularly like. This fits in with the way I like to learn. I like to deal with things like reference guides. I get all of the information that is in the slideshows here, all of the notes, all of the diagrams, and right at the end of the document, I get multiple appendices which include additional exercises and further information. So this is not just a repeat of the slideshow content, it's another way of learning. So there's your course. Let's pop back to the catalog view, to the course itself. Another button, as long as you remember, lets you go straight to take an exam. Again, you've got to log in here. So you do need that membership. From there, you'll get a disclaimer view. And then if you agree, you can get yourself ready for the exam. I won't click OK here simply because I'll mess up with our statistics. I'll really start sitting this exam. So trust me, you get multiple choice question after multiple choice question. We're all familiar with exams. I'm just trying to show you how easy all of this is. So that's your catalog view. I mentioned learning paths. With learning paths, we've got a brand new tool that will be live very shortly. Another view of the course catalog, very interactive to help you work out exactly what training you need. At the top, we break down into our main categories: Infinity courses, Temenos Transact courses, payments, wealth, technical platform. Below, decide if you want to pick a learning path that's based on product, a set of courses that relate to a particular part of a product, or to a role. A role is what you do. It's a set of courses that are going to help you in your job. Let's pick product first. We just scroll down a bit. We always support 3 versions at least of any course. So we've got R18, R19, and R20 courses. Because I picked product, let me go to R20. I picked product. Here are some product groupings of courses, which will turn into the visual learning path you see at the side. So there's Infinity Application Design, Infinity Application Development, UXP Browser. You pick what part of the product you want. Alternatively, we could have picked role, pick R20 again. The left-hand side changes, says, well, are you an Infinity Application Designer, a developer, a UXP consultant? What is it that you do as part of a role? Once we've picked, we go to the bottom, and here on the diagram, these are the same courses you could get from the catalog view that you should do in the order you should do them in order to get full certification as, for example, here, an Infinity Application Designer. This is an interactive diagram. So for example, say I've done the first 2 courses, I want to get onto the 3rd course. This is Infinity Spotlight. Let's click on Infinity Spotlight. You're taken straight back to the familiar catalog. Okay. And that's my live demo. Let me just take you back to the slideshow. What we've covered here is without membership, you can start with Basecamp, click a link, takes you to Temenos Learning Community, and have a look for yourselves at what we offer in TLC Online through the TLC catalog. All of the courses are also available for classroom learning. In the catalog, there's also courses that are only for classroom and have not been made live yet. So I took you through the catalog itself. I showed you one of the courses to illustrate the content that we provide. I gave you a brief view of certification. I just didn't sit the test myself. You don't need to see me going through 40 multiple choice questions. And I illustrated the various ways that we implement learning paths, including our brand new tool that will be released soon that gives you an interactive approach to planning your learning experience. That's all I want to present with you today. Thanks for listening in. Now it's for myself and Bogdan, I guess, for the question and answers. session. I've lost my mouse, so 2 seconds.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, just to give a quick
There we go.
answer to, I've also responded on the Q&A. There was a question related to the certification, if there is just one level of certification or whether there are multiple levels. So the answer to that is that, the question was from Luciano, and the answer is there are several levels of certification. And those depend on the number of exams that are passed and the number of credits that one accumulates. So there are indeed multiple levels of certification, and these are certifications. I think it's important to mention that they are also pertaining to the role, and they can be used differently by a technology company, for instance, that would be a Temenos partner, and also by perhaps maybe a developer that can be a part of a member of the team from the bank's side. So these certifications, by the way, they follow the learner, not the organization. So for instance, suppose that we have a learner that has sat through various exams, and then for one reason or the other, they want to change teams, or they want to do a different job in a different place. The certifications that they've had are, they get to keep their certifications until the end of the 12-month subscription for TLC Online. So that's not lost, regardless where they are and how they plan to spend that 12 months. So we want to make sure that the learner's interest is at the core of our certification model, and therefore it follows the learner and the learner only. I think we have some questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the second one if you like, Bogdan, from Henry Egar.
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, Henry, the main requirement for gaining access to TLC is for you to subscribe. We've got a button you can click to start the application form process. There's a payment, of course, but there's no qualifications or anything you need to particularly have to subscribe. Anything you'd like to add to that, Bogdan?
No, I think that's spot on. And I think that it's really interesting because many questions are related to the certifications and specifically to the KONI certifications, because I think that I see that also there's a question related to whether the KONI trainings and certifications are also available online. So a quick answer to that would be yes. So in TLC Online, we do have a monthly release of the catalog that contains all the courses in all the learning packs. So we have the courses structured by what we call learning packs, and there is a monthly update because, of course, we continuously, and especially Kevin's team is continuously creating new content and new course content as part of these learning packs. And therefore, back to the question about the KONI, we already started creating some interesting content there on quantum, on the different versions of Delta, and there is more to come on that. Anything to add there, Kevin?
Not from me. No, that was perfectly answered. I'll take the next one. There's one from Mohammed. Is there some kind of badges that can be integrated into social media profiles? The answer to that is we've talked a lot about badges. We don't have a full-fledged badging system yet, but we're in the process of moving all of our content to a brand new LMS. We have to buy it first. That's for next year, but we're in the market for one, and one of the requirements is it must have badging capability. So if you bear with us, badges should be in the horizon next year with a new platform, a new glossy look and feel.
Great. And thank you, Gove, for adding the additional nuance to the KONI related trainings. Just to decide that we do have the Quantum V8 and V9 available on TLC Online, and also the Delta courses are available on the various service pack releases. So thank you, Gove, for the nuance there.
I think that's all the questions so far, unless I've missed one.
I believe we have everything covered. Kind of badges to be integrated into social media. Yeah, that was exactly the one that you've answered. I remember I saw something specifically, and I think this is going to be something that we'll see more and more on TLC Online, just like Kevin said, integrations with third-party LTIs like Badger and other easy to integrate badging LTIs, that, yeah, we'll have some of those available probably quite soon. I saw a message that also I wanted to repeat from Mary, related to, I believe it was related to scale. I just want to repeat that. Yes, inviting all the Temenos customers and partners to join us at Scale. That's our developer conference. It's during November 18 and 19. And you may find the link to that developer conference in the chat room here in this in the chat room here. So it's temenos.com/events/temenos-scale. So please check it out and make sure you register. Registrations are open, and there's going to be a lot of, I think, interesting events, especially for the developer community. So if you have any questions, please reach out to myself or Kevin or Mary, and we'll be happy to take any questions there as well. All right. Any other questions? Let's see if there's anything else. No, I think we got everything covered.
There are two more questions added.
Oh, several sandboxes. Sorry, there's some. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the sandbox questions. So for the sandboxes, so there is an onboarding process where you will receive the credentials for everything, and some of the functionalities sit on different systems. So for instance, for the sandbox, you will have a different credentials as you will for the, for instance, online courses. And therefore, but don't worry, when onboarding to TLC Online, you will receive a set of emails with full details on the credentials for all the systems that you need in order to access the sandboxes, the online courses, and all the other key entitlements that I mentioned, exams and certifications. So it will be very self-explanatory in that email how it works and what credentials, which credentials you need for what environment, whether that be for the sandbox or for the online courses. All of those details will be comprised in the onboarding email that you receive upon registration. Okay, Tanya? I hope that answers the question. Did we miss a question? Sorry.
Tanya says, thank you very much.
Great.
There is one, Peter Sipel, I'm really sorry, because I don't understand your question fully. I can't get the version to show during the session, but please send me an email after this, and or Skype me and we'll have a chat about it. Sorry, I just not sure what you mean there, but I think that's all about done.
Yeah. Thank you, Bogdan and Kevin, for this lovely session. It was indeed good, and you even showed, how to access the training and how to log into the portal and go to the portal and access all the training, available on the portal. It was very valuable, and I'm sure it was equally valuable for the audience today who've joined us. I want to thank you for taking this up and thank the entire audience for joining us today. As I said in the beginning, I am going to post this session on Basecamp, so you can have a look at it later, or if you want to share it with your friends or colleagues who missed it today, you can share the link with them, and they can watch the recording again. If you have questions later after the session, make sure to use Basecamp forum. We have very active forum on Basecamp. So log into Basecamp, post your questions over there, and we have experts, all experts over there, and they can answer your questions in the forum as well. Thank you so much once again for joining, and keep a check on the events page on Basecamp. We post a lot of updates about what's the next event, so you can go to Basecamp website and go to the events page and subscribe or register to all the events that we post over there, so that you do not miss any of those events. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, and see you again in the next webinars. Thank you.
Thank you.